see, we're live on Twitch and let's see, Twitch and YouTube. We are live on there.
Twitch, YouTube, and TikTok.
Okay.
Those are the three we go live on.
Okay. Yeah, I'm about to log us into TikTok because what happened earlier is I had to update the live creator thing or whatever.
Okay.
Yeah. And so now I have to log back into it because it update and just blah 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 because it's TikTok and TikTok just wants to be a pain because it can be.
Have we set up a TikTok account for Tron yet, or no?
Not specifically for it, no.
Okay,
Um,
maybe I'm gonna put that in my notes. Something we can do.
yeah, because right now I'm using the Villains Guild one. Sometimes on mine, but sometimes on the Villains Guild. But I just
Okay.
thought
Well,
about I just thought about that. Uh,
if nothing else, just
yeah,
to share the link, our socials, and clips of our show.
right,
So,
yeah. And if we build it up, we build it up to the point where we can start going live and everything like that. Then hey, awesome.
oh yeah.
Oh, TikTok.
Oh, TikTok.
I have a love-hate relationship with you.
Yeah, a lot more hate than love, but yes,
Okay, you hate to love it.
you love to hate it.
Yes, you especially love to hate it. And just sometimes you just have to hate it because yeah.
I think it was the movie Red Dawn where they said one guy said, "All that hate's going to burn you up, kid," and the kid responded, "Keeps me warm." The official movie of all apocalyptic fandoms out there and Lord of the Flies wannabes and
All right. So eventually we'll hit up live on TikTok. So let's get started.
Recording in progress.
good afternoon and welcome back to what is officially episode 17 of the Rules of Nerdquisition. And before I introduce myself and my co-host, my partner in crime, I just want to issue a correction and let everyone know last week we did say that yes, this was episode 15. It was not, it was episode 16. We were a little confused. I'm blonde. What's your excuse? I don't know. I walk into rooms and forget why I'm there. Anyway, this is episode 17 of the Rules of Nerdquisition, the Squire of Gothos. I am Gretchen. This is my wonderful partner, who I could not ask for a better number one, Gilbert. Say hello, Gilbert. How is everybody?
Hello, hello, hello. Greetings, everyone. How is everybody doing today? Out in Rules and Acquisition Land, the Trek world, the Trekkies, the Trekkers. However you want to identify yourself as today. We love you all and welcome. Greetings.
And welcome.
All right,
And
so
as we always say, or don't always say, I want to say because we don't always say, if you are listening live, we do go live on Twitch, TikTok, and YouTube when we're filming these episodes. So you can get a little bit of the before and after if you're tuning in, because
yeah,
we're still figuring this thing out. We're just having fun doing it. I kind of look forward to these moments,
yeah.
this
We're just
this
talking a little bit about the Trek, about the Trek of the
yeah,
stars.
Trek of the Stars.
We're just going through the Trek of
To
everything.
quote Zephram Cochrane. So you guys are like astronauts on some kind of Star Trek.
Exactly.
Exactly. And we're just doing this for fun. So I hope everybody enjoys. This week is the Squire of Gothos, as I mentioned before. and we have a fun episode. It does have some serious moments, but it's a fun episode, and the goddess knows we need this right now.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely, and quite honestly, we can all see and speculate and however's going around and say, yeah, this is quite possibly the basis or origin or what inspired Q, Q Continuum, Q, and everything. Yeah, so yeah, it's a fun episode and a lot of shenanigans happens.
It is a lot of
shenanigans.
shenanigans. If one of you says shenanigans one more time, hey, what was that bar we used to go to? No, no, I'm not going to quote Super Troopers. I'm not going to do it. But as I often do, a little bit of trivia leading into today's very fun episode, starring William Campbell as Trelane, or the Squire of Gothos, or General Trelane, retired, as he later mentions in the episode.
He emphasizes retired.
Retired. Now, William Campbell is one of my favorite Star Trek alumni. Sadly, he passed away April 28th of 2011, but he is more famously known, at least in my circles, as Commander Koloth, Klingon commander from the wonderful episode The Trouble with Tribbles.
Yeah.
And also with the actors who played Kang and Kor, who are, I consider Kang, Koloth, and Kor the big three Klingons from the original series, got to reprise their roles in several episodes of Deep Space Nine with Jadzia Dax, and they had their own little adventures together. And it was all the original actors. Kang was always my personal favorite, but nothing against Koloth. He got Scotty to start a fight, or at least one of his crew members did anyway. But we'll get to that episode.
That's awesome.
We'll get to that episode later. But yes, he passed away in 2011. He was the first person to lip sync on film in the movie Love Me Tender with Elvis in 1956. So, random bit of trivia.
And that is Gretchen with this week's trivia. Track trivia for this week. Da-da-da. Bam.
Ba-dum-bum. I don't have any cymbals. I need a cymbal right next to me now. I'm going to buy one. Ba-dum-bum.
There you go.
So anyway, we're going to start this episode out. The Enterprise en route to Beta 6 colony. The USS Enterprise must pass through a void. There are no stars. It is a region of space about 900 light years from Earth where there's no stars, and they find this rogue planet. And
out of the middle of nowhere.
Out of the middle of nowhere. And Kirk is like, look, we're busy. Last week was a mess. We need to stay on task. But as Sulu prepares to steer around this thing, Kirk disappears. Just poof.
Poof.
And everyone's freaking out. And what happens? And Spock orders all stop. We're slowing down. We got to figure out what's going on. While Enterprise is trying to figure out what happened to Kirk, and Sulu disappeared too. He was gone. He just poof. So we had to have net.
Just Sulu stood up, poof, and then
right.
Kirk ran over him, poof.
Right.
And we're left wondering, it's like, okay, what in the hell?
Right, exactly. And DeSalle had to take over, and we go into the credits. What were you doing on break? I don't know. Never mind. We are currently en route to Earth because of political turmoil back in our home world. But on the way, we are still continuing our mission briefings because we know that you need them. And if you don't need them, I need them. Gilbert needs them. I need them. We need them.
And
be with us.
We need them. You need them too. And so, they pass by this weird, random, rogue planet in the middle of nowhere.
Nowhere.
And then all of a sudden, they disappear, and then they stop, and then they start scanning, and they decide to send an away team. And of course, and here's the thing, side note, all right, the Dr. McCoy, Bones, for somebody that is a doctor, he spends less time in sick bay in a hospital than any place else in the entirety of that ship.
And I'd just like to point out they sent DeSalle, who was ordered to take over for Sulu when he vanished. Like your main navigator and pilot, you're sending him down? No, I'm
And it's
keeping the
like
pilot in the I'm keeping the pilot in the cockpit. And let's send some security, maybe.
yeah,
I know the jokes about red shirts. I get it. I know they're coming, but
but still, there's literally like nobody else in that entirety of that whole crew that knows about the environment.
has
Rocks
no
is
one
there. Nope, there's just only one person. Only one. Only one. Only
has
one.
no one ever had a conversation with Kirk and Spock about essential personnel,
It's like,
like
I get
people
it.
that need to be at their station regardless.
Yeah.
I think the
And
pilot, the doctor, those are, obviously
essential.
Kirk,
Yeah, they're kind of essential to stay there. Now
right.
I get if you want to send somebody down there, send a nurse. Nurses are just as effective. They can heal somebody just as quickly.
Or
And
even Spock, hey, I am the head science officer on the ship. Maybe I could relinquish command to somebody who knows that job and I can use my expertise where it's needed,
yeah, you can
which
do
is
that too,
science.
and stick with the science.
Stick with the science. And I get it. Kirk had no choice. He was just in Q fashion
Just
off the ship.
gone. Just
Right.
poof. And again, like I said, this is quite obviously the inspiration for Q and the Q continuum.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And then we find
And
that that he is a life form, but he doesn't register on our instruments. So it's like,
he also lives in the same castle that like they use for every alien that lives in a castle in the original episodes.
of course,
The same
it's always
castle.
like decorated in like, uh, like the ancient times where it's just
Right.
completely decadent. It just like has candles everywhere. It's like, but it has candles, but it also has electrical lighting, and it's
Right. And so they enter this castle, which looks like Halloween because that seems to be a theme that
that's always the
Gene
theme.
Gene,
That's
Gene Roddenberry loved. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love Halloween. You
but
know,
I mean,
I'm a Germanic pagan.
yeah,
Halloween and those kind of things appeal to me, but it's always Halloween in Star Trek.
if you want to make it creepy, hey,
Halloween in space.
space.
So they enter this castle, McCoy and DeSalle and all them, and they find Kirk and Sulu are like frozen in place. Like,
Just in statues, and obviously what looks like a museum display of just ancient cavemen.
right. I'm pretty sure that this is the same castle that Captain Pike fought that giant caveman in front of for.
Probably it's probably the exact same cage that he was in too.
Right. Right. So then the magical space harpsichord begins to play. And there is, as quoted by Memory Alpha, a foppish figure in a blue coat
Mhm.
and ruffled shirt who introduces himself as General Trelane, retired,
Retired general, but still a general, and
the squire, the squire of Gothos.
which is some sort of like Liberace copy. So for any of
Oh
the
wow.
any of the younger viewers out there, Liberace is a piano player in mostly in the 60s. I knew him around in the 60s, and dressed very
Flamboyantly.
flamboyant. That's a great word. That's a very great word. Yes, yes, Yes.
Flamboyant. He was flamboyant before Elton John was flamboyant.
Yes. He was Elton John before Elton John was Elton John.
Exactly. Exactly. That is absolutely it. Yes. He was only
And
little Richard did it better.
facts. So, and he is dressed to the T. Looking, the only way Trelane could look as a Q. The Q that could do everything. 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 So, yes.
Right, because he's
And,
nice enough at first, but he very quickly establishes that, hey, I'm the power here.
right.
And there's nothing you can do because he unfreezes Kirk and Sulu, and he's like, "Hey, hi everybody,
That.
welcome to my planet. I'm in charge."
So, just so you
I
guys know, hey, hey, you guys, just so you know, I'm in charge. So, just so you know, don't try anything. There won't be anything. Huh? All right. Have fun around. Take a look around. Make yourself at home. Don't touch anything. It's like one
Yeah,
of those.
and he lays a very basic threat, very plain threat. Says, "Look, you'll behave yourselves, or it's going to hit the fan, and I'm going to be the one that throws it."
Yeah.
So,
And so, needless to say, he sets a bunch of obstacles, hoops.
oh yeah, he actually like
Yeah.
snaps his fingers, and Kirk is snapped outside the castle where like there's toxic gas, he can't breathe, and then brings him
Right.
back just to say, hey, if you
He said,
needed
just so you
proof,
know,
if you needed proof,
just so you know, hey,
right there.
I, just letting you know, hey, don't try anything.
Right, exactly.
And so
Now,
yeah,
now
and so Trelane decides he wants to play a game because
wants to
why
play a game.
not? So he sets a whole bunch of obstacles, traps.
Conditions, things. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
pretty
and,
straightforward episode as far as just, we very quickly established that Kirk and crew are his playthings, and they're going to do what he wants
mhm,
them to do so that he has fun. It has kind of, in a way, you remember the movie The Toy with Richard Pryor and Jackie Gleason?
yes, yes,
It kind of reminds me of
hmm
that. Like, I've bought you, which was problematic in that episode or in that movie alone. But you're going to entertain me or my children in all the ways that I
yeah,
ask you to, because I
correct,
am the one in control.
yeah, and
Typical white man self-perceived superiority. I am white here and I
so
tell you what to do. No,
so.
okay, whatever.
Well, what do you mean? Oh, I said this is what you do, and so yeah, that's him. Except he can actually make you do
Right,
it.
and not so much from Chilena black or white issue so much as that I am better than you, period. I don't
Yeah,
care who you are. I'm just
so
better than you.
so I don't care who you are. you know,
Right,
and
and
so
even Scotty manages to like lock onto them and is about to beam them up, and McCoy's like, "Oh, hey, I'm getting a transporter signal through my communicator," and Trelena's like, "No,
so oh,
I
that's
I
cute.
warned you. I did not tell you to leave. I warned you."
So yeah, and so Spot gets a signal through and is able to beam them out. And so Kirk immediately said, you know what? Screw that place. Screw that dude. Let's get out of here.
Screw you guys. I'm going home.
No, 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 no. You guys can't. Me can't.
No, kitties, it's a my chitty poof.
Right. And so, yeah, they decide, Kirk, being smart on this one, he decides, hey, let's just dip out. Great. Thanks for the hospitality, but we gotta go. And so they go, and then Trelane decides, hold up.
Yeah, that's when Q appears. I mean, I'm sorry, Trelane appears on the bridge.
He's like, wait, hold up. We're not done yet.
Nah, I'm I'm putting the damper on this. I'm tying this one off. You guys aren't stopping what I'm spilling here. You're not going anywhere.
Say, hold up, wait, hold up. You're not picking up what I just put down. So hold up,
Exactly.
let's just turn this little puppy around here, and yeah, and so and the games continue, and so Kirk,
And that's he brings a whole bunch down now. We get Kirk, Spock, McCoy, Uhura, DeSalle, Yeager, Sulu, and Yeoman Ross are all in
they're all
Q. I'm
there,
sorry,
they're
Trelane's castle.
they're all there at the
I'm gonna
continuum. I mean, the castle.
in the continuum.
And
This is
so,
definitely Q. Definitely Q. It
oh,
reeks of
without a
Q.
doubt. Oh, without a doubt, this is cute. And so, yeah, he decides that, he's decided he's going to play with his new action figures that he just got. He said, I just got the whole set. And so he decides he's going to play.
Did you see anything? No, you didn't. No, I didn't see you playing with your action figures again.
That's exactly it. He got caught playing with his action figures by his parents.
Oh, the nerd references never cease. Of course, on the rules of Nerdquisition, they never cease.
Of course not. We wouldn't be doing our job if we weren't. And so, yeah, the elder Qs came up and said, hey, man, look here. You can't be doing that. Bruh. Look, you can't be doing that. What is wrong with you, man? What is wrong with you, Trelane? You can't just take these people and just decide you're just gonna make them your little puppets. You can't do that, man. They got lives, man. They got families. And so it took that intervention, from an authority figure to like, hey, there's such a thing as called boundaries. You need to respect them.
That is true. That is true. And I had some very personal experiences with boundaries lately, so I understand that. And I know for those of you that may be Trekkers or Trekkies listening right now, yeah, we're kind of skipping to the end of this episode in that regard. This is really because everything that happens in between the beginning to the end, there's not much substance to it. It's just a lot of fun shenanigans again.
Right.
Anyone says shenanigans. Anyone else says shenanigans.
And of course,
It's
every episode, Kirk gets into a fight, and
we have a duel. We have like an old Scott style duel, and Captain, I never miss. Like,
right. And so clearly, you saw, Trelane was just there, and he was just playing with his toys. Problematic, again, and but he
right,
has
and
yeah, and but the thing is, he didn't see it as a problem, because he had he literally could make them do it if they didn't even want to do it.
yeah, and no matter how many escapes attempts they make, even discovering, the big mirror in Trelane's room that they think is causing or hiding the device that may be giving Trelane his power, they destroy it. It doesn't change anything. He still has his power. And I sort of wonder if maybe that was Trelane just still playing with them and saying, hey, here's a false flag, here's a red herring, if you will,
Right.
something to distract you away from what it is, the fact that I have this massive power. And when Trelane's parents show up at the
Right.
end and say, hey, we're sorry, our kid is kind of messing up, you realize that power extends beyond any kind of physical device or technology or anything like that. We are dealing with
Like extra dimensional, some kind of higher life form being that is able just to draw and have and wield immense power, like power beyond our comprehension, obviously. And so it's almost fair to safe to say is that Trelane setting up that red herring was just kind of him just playing with his toys, so to speak.
Playing with his food. Yes,
Right.
I totally understand. And that
Mm-hmm.
is where I definitely think the connections with Q come in, because Q is very famously known for
Uh, Hang on
playing with
just a second.
Picard.
Hang on. I gotta go answer the phone real quick. Hang on.
Okay. Note to self, edit this part out. I'm just painting my nails anyway while we talk about Star Trek. So, hey, why not? I'm going with hot pink today. You can't see that. Can you see that? Hot pink. Hot pink.
Sorry, you have to edit that out in post. You'll have to edit that out in post.
I cannot hear you.
Oh, and that was just great. Such professionalism going on.
Ah, no problem.
You have
At
to,
least in the
have
audio,
to
at
edit
least in
that
the
out in
audio
post.
cast. In the audio, I'm going to edit that out. So 3, 2, 1. And the interesting thing about this episode is, especially with the connections to Q going forward, is that that he plays with his you know prey or his food or his toys or what have you.
Right.
Um, you sort of see the gamefulness, the playfulness in it, because we have the hunt where Trelane has to hunt Kirk down. There's the
Right.
duel. There's the noose. You're gonna hang until you're dead. And all of
And
these things just
and
it
just
doesn't
him
seem
kind of
like
right, and just him almost like seeing all of these things that have been sensationalized and at that point had been like pop culture, so to speak, and so yeah, he wanted to reenact that. And you always say oh no, I like you, I don't like you, and that was him doing that. you know
right, exactly. And that was something that we mentioned in the last episode. That in the official Star Trek Encyclopedia, written by Michael Okuda, he did suggest that some people have mused out loud that Trelane was one of the original inspirations for Q. And yeah, we kind of glossed through the episode real quick because I think if I read my number one, we want to talk about Q because I think he's a big,
yeah.
not just Q himself, but the continuum is a huge part of Star Trek,
Oh, throughout the
especially Next Gen,
mhm.
Voyager, DS9 has made appearances, and then also in Picard
Yeah.
came back. And I just have to go on. Not only do I love William Campbell, may he rest in peace. John Delancey is one of my favorite additions to Star Trek.
Yeah,
He is
absolutely.
fabulous as Q, even having some of the worst episodes, in my opinion. Be it Farpoint, Robin Hood. There are some goofy things that
Right.
happen, but
But still, even even though through all those goofiness and all those episodes like that is that he has that immense power to where that he can make that happen regardless of whether or not if you want to he can make it happen. you know
yeah, and there's beyond all of his gimmicks and gags of any Q, there is a seriousness behind that character. Not just a genuine curiosity, but also concern for humanity, but a
hmm
frivolousness too, in the sense that, like, these are my toys, and yes, I love my toys, but like the kid that I was playing with my war toys, blowing them up with firecrackers in real life war zones. I don't know. Have you ever seen? There was a Disney movie called The Boy Who Could Fly. Have you ever seen that movie?
yes.
And in that
Yeah, I
movie, there was the
remember
little
that.
boy who would blow up all of his toys. I think it was Fred. What's his name from
Fred
the
Savage.
Wonder
Yeah.
Years? Yeah,
Yeah.
from the Wonder Years. And he would like bury his soldiers when they died in combat. Like he had this whole graveyard of toys in his backyard. And
Yeah.
that's kind of the way I think of Q. That like, yes, I love my toys, but I'm going to send them in to do all these horrible things or these traumatic events and what have you, these exciting adventures. And if they die, they die, and that's okay
Look,
because I'm beyond them.
this is her son. Yes.
Edit number 2. We're like super professional here. Like,
Yes. Yes, she is.
sorry for the delay to anyone watching. We have
Say
multiple
that again,
things
please.
going on behind the scenes, so we're always kind of trying to balance everything. The audio version, which goes up on Spotify, always will
Yes.
be edited for streamlining and time consumption. But if you're watching live, either Twitch, YouTube,
Okay.
or TikTok,
All
we're
right.
doing our best.
Thank you.
That's just our thing. But it's a passion project for all of us. So we do what we do when we can do it, and we appreciate people sticking with us through it, even when there are distractions. But it looks like number 1 is back, and I have my timestamps marked for when I need to edit, and we can continue.
Thank you for that. I appreciate it. Again, much like this episode, boundaries. Boundaries are
Boundaries.
important.
Boundaries are
Boundaries.
important. Boundaries are important. Yes, I understand, but that's okay. Again, I was telling everyone while you were away for a moment on a brief away mission.
Yes.
We're doing this for fun. This is a labor of love for the two of us. Just two people that love Star Trek. Are we the greatest podcasters in the world? No. Are we having fun? I am, and I'm
Yes.
confident that Gilbert is. And we're just doing this to hopefully entertain not just you guys, but ourselves. And take a moment from all of the crap happening in this world and just breathe for a minute and have
And
some fun.
and I just like to say I like to live in a delusion is that I am the greatest podcaster in the world. I live in that delusion, and I will make it happen.
Hello, my name is Gretchen, and this is the greatest podcaster in the world, Gilbert, my number one. He only makes me better. So,
And and I'm only great because she's great. So there's that.
and we will get sidetracked because I know that both Gilbert and I, at least, I'm neurodivergent to some degree, ADHD. My brain is all over the place. I can't keep a straight thought half the time. Usually it only happens on this show. So we're doing our best and we appreciate everyone sticking by. And we're just going to keep plugging away and doing this. You can't get rid of us.
No, we ain't going nowhere.
And you can
We're,
choose not to watch, but that would be to the detriment of your own mental health.
I mean, that that'd go against Starfleet.
Laws of nature.
Right?
I mean,
Right? That's just that's unimaginable. That's unthinkable. That's
at the
unbearable.
at the risk of sacrilege, when God said, I have created man in my image, he was thinking, y'all are going to create Star Trek, and I am here for it. All right.
Right? It's like, I know what's coming.
I know what's coming. Despite all the crap that you stupid humans are going to do, you're still going to make Star Trek and other great nerd properties. So, these are things that all of you can look forward to.
Right?
Our wildly erratic
So,
wildly erratic reviews of Star Trek and all its episodes, but
that just goes
still
a little bit of everywhere.
still a fantastic episode. I mean, again, I love William Campbell as Trelane and this kind of predecessor to the Q, and John Delancey kind of taking that role and owning it all the way up
Yeah.
until the cameo at the after credit scene of Picard season 3, which I won't spoil here because it's still relatively new if you haven't
Mhm.
seen it, but you should because
Like
it's
I mean, like I mean, if you haven't seen it, then what are you even doing with your life? Like I mean, what? But yeah, and the great thing is that this particular episode also probably was the basis of a Futurama episode, in which it was pretty much almost the same premise. Um, in which there was this higher power that just collected a few of the figures, which great cameo was for the original crew of Star Trek. You know, well, except for James Dugan, but
and that was the episode where no fan has gone before for all you
yep,
Futurama fans out there.
which quite
The,
obviously was this episode was a direct basis, inspiration, for that episode was this episode because it kind of was the same way, what the same premise, higher power, brought them all there and treated them as a play toy, and then had to let them go because their parents came in.
oh,
Except this
right.
time, the parents told me, that dinner was ready. Stop doing this. Blah 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 blah. Except find out that he was staying in his parents' basement. You know.
I definitely have to
Yes.
brush up on Futurama. It's been a while since I've watched that.
So yeah,
Um,
it's a great episode. It was funny, and so yeah, which quite obviously that was the direct, that this episode was direct inspiration for that episode.
yeah, and if you guys want to hear, I mean, we don't want to, while our focus is on Star Trek, obviously, we're going to be talking about so many different nerd properties. I speak for Gilbert. I know when
So
I say that our fandom goes beyond just this particular series,
oh
this
yeah,
particular Star
there's
Trek, and
There's this and Star Wars, Battlestar Galactica, Caprica. You know, was another one we talked about. Babylon 5. There's Babylon 5.
Babylon 5, Stargate. I
Stargate.
mean,
Yeah.
there's a whole Doctor Who. I haven't even that now
Mm-hmm.
that Doctor Who is a series I've never really watched much. I watched it when I was a kid with the guy with the big bouffant.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah. Tom Baker.
yeah, thank you, Tom
Mm-hmm.
Baker. I knew I was right there on the tip of my
Oh
tongue.
yeah. I am.
But I've never really gotten into Doctor Who, not because I didn't like it, I just didn't have the time. And people are telling me, like, girl, you need to watch Doctor Who.
Yeah.
So,
That would be that. Yeah. That's something that's right up your lane. It's
so I
right
think
up
I
your lane because I'm the Whovian, classic, new, everything. I've watched Doctor Who since I've been, oh my gosh, 6, 7.
oh yeah,
I
it
so
came
yeah,
out on in British TV before you or I were born.
yeah,
I'm pretty sure.
yeah, because originally started in 1963.
Is that what it was? I'm checking now. Yeah. I shall consult the oracle.
63, I think.
1963. Yeah. So that was a good
Boom.
11 years before I was born. Nerd cred right there to number one. He just nailed it. He just nailed it. He called it right off the top of his head. He was like 1963. Shut up. Listen to me. I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, and so
And yeah,
it's been
we've had
going on.
so many Doctor Who's. I mean,
Hmm.
one of them was Matt Smith. Isn't he starring on House of the Dragon
Yes, he
right now
is. Yes, he is.
as
That is.
Daemon Targaryen?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
That's
wow.
what he's doing currently. Yes, and I know before Doctor Who, I know he'd done a few projects up, of course not up until then, but quite arguably one of the things that really brought him into mainstream, audiences and introduced him to American audiences was Doctor Who, and then Terminator, and then
Terminator, yeah.
a couple other movies he did. He was also in Morbius. You know, I don't know if everybody saw Morbius.
I saw it, but
Uh,
other
but
than
yeah,
a few Spider-Man movies, I'm sorry, Sony's attempt to make superhero movies has
it,
faltered a bit.
it's not been it's it's flopped. Let's just it flopped.
Uh, it flopped. Now, I will say Tom Hardy is as Eddie Brock is, and
That is great. Yeah.
his interactions with the Venom symbiote is perfect, even if the movies in general weren't that great.
Right. Yeah. So it was just what made those movies great was just Eddie Brock and Venom's their interaction
Per-
between the two. Yeah.
Persona, yeah, I love the inside dialogue that's going on. Like, I want to eat them. No, you can't. Like that kind of thing.
Well, why
But
not? Because
right. And if there's things that any of our listeners that we have, wherever, whoever you may be, you want us to talk about, we have an email address. It's the rules of nerdquisition at gmail.com until we get our official website. That is something that I'm considering and planning. And,
so
you
it's
can
all in the
always,
works.
you can reach out and just say, hey, and we are going to be, for future episodes, just so you know, episodes will be airing on GCPR, Ghost Claw Production Radio. So
GCPR. Yeah.
that will
This
be our official home.
is GCPR.live.
Yep,
So
gcpr.live. And
so
you'll be
definitely
able to
check
hear
that
the
out.
shows.
We'll have there's a bunch of different shows on there as well. Uh, the Villain's View, Kennedy Effect.
Hold Dead Hand,
Cold Dead
Hold Dead
Hands,
Hands.
Superplex Party. So we have a little bit for everyone. From
Right, yeah.
politics
What
to
what what
entertainment to just
what's the coffee show that
then there's the Sound of Coffee with Thomas the
right?
villain Bishop. He talks about a bunch of various topics. Ranging from music to sports to politics to movies, just whatever's on his head. Whatever's in
And
his
we
head.
we
Yeah.
have we have such a broad variety of people too. I mean, we got people of color, we've got trans people, we've got
Mm-hmm.
women and
Ev-
white dudes.
a
we
little bit
we,
of
we
everybody for everything.
little bit of
or
everybody for
or
a little bit of
everything for everybody.
everybody.
Everybody for
Right.
everybody. Everybody for everything for everybody.
I'm a
Or
big
something.
fan of a little bit of everybody for everybody, but that's beside the point. I'm not going to get dirty on rules and
Well, that's
requisition. Anyway,
another conversation for another time.
that's another conversation. And you and I have already talked about that. This, I am super excited to do the Mirror Universe episodes of Star
Oh
Trek,
yeah, those are going to be great.
and we're going to be doing mirror episodes of the Rules of Nerdquisition. So to be determined or to be announced how that actually turns out. What we decide to do. Maybe I'll draw a beard on. Then again, I could grow one, but that's beside the point. I'm not going to do that. I promise. I promise you all, I'm not going to do that. I gave
No,
that up a
well,
long time ago.
for me it would be I'd have to go clean shaven, but I mean I can't do
No, don't
that.
do that. No, don't do that.
I'd look too weird.
No. We might make a bet about like whoever loses has to shave their beard or dye their hair brunette, and then suddenly the captain calls us to the bridge, and then nothing happens. But that was
Yep,
a
we
TNG
could do
reference,
that.
by the way. But yeah, anything you guys want to talk about or hear us talk about or be goofy about, the rules of nerdquisition at gmail.com. That's the right address, right? Is it the rules of nerdquisition at gmail?
Um,
I think
you know
that's
what?
it.
I hang on.
I am not knowing.
I'm so I'm so
I'm gonna find out here in a second.
I feel so unprofessional right now because I can't remember if I set up as the rules of Nerdquisition or rules of Nerdquisition. I want to say it's rules. Uh,
I don't know. It is either
is
rules of nerdquisition or the rules of nerdquisition. That's what I know. At gmail.com. Eventually it will just be Tron at
ah
rulesofnerdquisition.com. We'll get there.
it is rules of Nerdquisition at gmail.com. That is
Okay.
rules of Nerdquisition at gmail.com.
And you're free to even just send us an email and tell us we're idiots. We'll probably read your email online and make fun of you, and we don't
Yeah.
care.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. You want to say, hey, you guys suck. Uh,
Yeah. Yeah. Well, sorry about your luck. You're here watching it. What does that say about you?
They say, well, I appreciate the view. Tell your friends about us.
We
Say, matter
appreciate
of
the
fact,
engagement.
if you
Yes,
don't like us, tell your enemies about us.
exactly.
So if you like
And
us,
and
tell your friends. If you don't like us, tell people you don't like.
and that is where we stand and where we will going, and we will stand by this. I think that both of us are proud of what we're doing here and just having a good time doing it. Next week, next episode, because we do just going forward. Everyone knows we are recording 2 episodes bi-weekly, just so we can have a little bit of family time and stuff like that on and off weekend. So we're doing 2 episodes every 2 weeks, and I'll release both of them at the same time. You generally about Sunday evenings, but next episode, next episode, Arena. Arena. And I want to talk about
Oh
this
yeah,
episode in depth. I want to talk about this one in depth because this is a
this is a really good one. This is the Gorn.
the Gorn, the
The
introduction of the Gorn.
Gorn.
And it
Oh,
has a very Godzilla-esque evolution from giant man in a rubber suit lumbering slowly through a set until we get to I just watched the new Empire this weekend,
mm-hmm.
this past weekend,
Yeah.
and Godzilla's like full sprinting through the cities, throwing down like Sugar Ray.
Yeah.
I mean, he's going down.
So just
And
boom, 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 gone.
and we get to see that kind of evolution of the Gorn through the original series into Enterprise into Strange New Worlds. The
Right.
Gorn has a big, but nothing beats Arena, the original episode, and I will have lots to say. I'm sure number one will
Oh
have
yeah.
lots to say when we get there, but it's fantastic. And I have some great convention memories of that episode as well, because I was once in a impersonation contest at a Star Trek convention when I was 12, and I didn't win, but the guy that impersonated the Gorn from this episode did, and he deserved every bit of accolade. I wish I could remember his name or who he was, because I would
Yeah.
give you a shout out. I would find you and bring you on this show. If you were there, Cleveland, Ohio, Star Trek convention, 1986. I was 12, and you won the impersonation contest, being the Gorn. Reach out. The rules of Nerdquisition at gmail.com. We want
Yeah.
you.
We need
Help
you.
us find him.
We
Help us
need.
find him.
We need you. We need to find the Gorn.
We need to find the Gorn.
We need to
We
find
need
him.
the Gorn.
And then after that, we have Tomorrow is Yesterday, in which time travel episode. First time travel
Time
episode
tra-
of this one, which the Enterprise goes back into 1960.
Yes,
Yeah.
correct. But the jet planes, this episode, and again, we don't want to give away too much for free, even though we do anyway. One of the most impressive scenes for me, and I know it's cheesy 60s effects, was the jet seeing the Enterprise in the
Mm-hmm.
atmosphere, like
Yeah.
flying up on it. Like, what the heck is that? you know? So we're looking forward to talking to this. Thank you for dealing with our comings and goings this whole episode. I know we've been a little distracted here and there. Life happens. Deal with it. I love this episode. Q will come back many times in the future because I stand by my belief that Trelane was a Q. Let us know what you think. You can always
Yes.
comment on our website over on Spotify. You can leave comments there and let us know what you think. Other than that, as always, I will turn it over to number one that way to send us home.
Alrighty. This was a great episode. Had a lot of fun. I do apologize for all the distractions that I had. But that's neither here nor there. Anyways, everyone just remember, be responsible. Keep your triple space.